The event is live.
Namaskar. Welcome to our new episode of Dekho Apna Desh. We have been promoting the various places of India, the lesser known destinations, and the untold story to the people of India and, of course, the international people. So, to bring this forward, Northeast Northeastern states have been the priority for our promotion, and we have done various episodes on Northeast. And today we are doing this episode dedicated to Meghalaya, one of the beautiful city you can say, or the landscape and the hills of Northeast state. So Meghalaya, everybody knows it is very near to Guwahati, very connected to Guwahati, and a pristine destination. Once upon a time, when the colonial period, this British people found it very suitable for their living and stay, and uh, from that time, this has become a very famous tourist destination, and lot of things has come up in Meghalaya. There are many more things that can be discovered today. So we will listen many untold story by Mr. Shiva Yadav, who is running a you can say NGO kind of thing by the name of Shiva Tales. He is a content creator, a storyteller, and most importantly, he is a passionate traveler. We have had him in previous few episodes also, and he visits the places where generally a normal tourist doesn't go, and he creates that story, and that gives us very insightful stories and the destinations that we have not seen till now. So, to know more about Meghalaya, I invite Mr. Shiva Yadav to share his presentation and stories, especially what he has collected in Meghalaya. Mr. Shiva.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. Good morning and namaskar, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, sir, and thank you to Ministry of Tourism and the team for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure to come and talk about my experiences and share the stories that I have experienced. The biggest reason why I love travel, right? So thank you so much. Last time we spoke about Arunachal Pradesh. Today we'll talk about Meghalaya. So next 45 minutes, this is how it will be. Uh, I'll just take a minute to introduce Shiva Tales. Last time I'd done a detailed one, so I'll just keep it short and crisp. Uh, then we'll go into what is Meghalaya known or famous for, right? It's one of the most famous destinations in Northeast because Meghalaya, definitely people go, other states are still comparatively ignored in Northeast. So why is it famous? Some interesting facts about Meghalaya we'll cover, which people might or might not know, and then we'll move into why we are in this session for some lesser known or untold stories which are there, which we normally miss, right? Because usually what we think of Meghalaya is definitely, of course, for its waterfalls, beautiful caves, landscapes, forests, greenery. But interestingly, everything there, even a jungle or a stone itself, has a story behind it. So we'll try to see those stories. Some 2 3 stories we'll talk about on a slide, and 3 stories we'll see through my videos, and then we can move on to the question and answer. So this is the agenda for the next 45 minutes. So with that, I'll quickly move in uh, to the introduction. So I am Shiva. I have had a corporate career for more than 10 years. I was a corporate sales guy. I quit my job about 18 months ago to start this channel to bring two of my passions together, which is travel and storytelling, because I've done a lot of theater as well. So both these things were something that I always used to love. So I thought, how do I bring them together? And that's how I started this initiative of Shiva Tells, where I want to tell stories, explore the areas which are lesser known or unknown, and then share those stories with everybody. So that's how Shiva Tells started about 18 months ago. Out of that, almost out of those 18 months, I think at least 14 months I have spent only in Northeast, because that place is so beautiful and there is so much to learn and uncover there that I haven't been able to get out. Although in more than 1 year, I've just been able to cover, like, I won't say cover fully also, but I've been able to cover four stories from four states. So Meghalaya is one of them, so which we'll talk about today. And I think maybe after a bit I'll return to Northeast and then cover the stories from other states as well. So why stories, right? So why is it that stories are important? Definitely, we travel, we want to see things, we want to capture pictures, we want to click them, create memories, right? That's good. That's definitely needed. Even I love that, right? I want to post wherever I am on Instagram. That's definitely a priority. But I think we should give a little bit of focus on the stories also wherever we go. And I feel that very strongly, and I feel it's very important because, one, the most important thing is that wherever you are, right, even if you are traveling in India or abroad, you get to know that country, their cultures, their traditions better. Even if you ask small questions about what is the reason behind anything, their festival or their song or anything, when you get to know that story, I think you understand those people better. So that's, I think, one of the biggest reasons why, just other than clicking a picture, knowing a story is important. Second thing is that these days, these all old indigenous cultures, folk tales, the mythologies are getting lost everywhere, even with the tribes, or even with non tribes as well, where even mythology in our culture, they are also getting lost. So telling these stories, I think, creates, like, it is a part, a small part in at least trying to save those cultures. So I think another very important for stories, right? Why are stories important? And then, of course, once, if for example you are at a waterfall and I tell you that there is a story behind it, a small story, a 2-minute story, and then I tell you that, then next time you go back home, you just don't show a picture of a waterfall, but then you tell a story of that place, and that makes a completely different impact. So now it is there with you for life, right? So for these reasons, I think broadly, knowing stories of any place that you visit is very important. So that's why Shiva tells, that's what I am trying to do. And with that, let's jump into the topic for today, which is Meghalaya. Meghalaya, of course, everybody knows, means the abode of the clouds or the home of the clouds. Uh, and the reason for that is obvious. It is the two cities, two towns there, which is Mosinam and Sohra. They are the wettest places on earth. So Cherrapunji, of course, is the name which it is known popularly by. But the locals there, if you go there, they don't like it because Cherrapunji was given by the Britishers. The official name is Sohra today. There is nothing like Cherrapunji that exists. So when people call it Cherrapunji, they don't they don't like it. So the correct place is Sohra, which is one of the wettest places on the earth, and it, on an average, on a year, it gives 11,700 millimeters of rainfall every year. So that's the kind of rain it sees. So that's of course a known thing in Meghalaya. Another thing is, it's sacred groves or forests, right? So very interesting thing that Meghalaya does, uh, and that has come from a legacy of their ancestors to save the forests, right? What they do is, uh, they consider every forest has a deity, right? There is a name for that deity, and they pray to that deity. And for them, that forest is a living creature, and they pray to that. And it is a rule there that all the forests which are declared sacred, that they cannot get even a leaf out of it, right? It is considered that if even if you get one leaf out of that forest, there will be a curse on you, or you would somebody in your family would, uh, you know fall sick or even have a fatality kind of accident or whatever. So Moflong is one of the most famous forests, though there are many, but Moflong is most known forest, uh, which is there, called the Sacred Forest. So of course, people go there for that. The cleanest village of India and Asia, also at one point of time, Molinong is also in Meghalaya. Though I have seen that in Northeast there are so many beautiful villages which are as clean, but definitely this has got the accolades. So, and for a long time, so that people go there for that. Whistling Village, Kong Thong, which I think many of you might have heard. I did a story on that also. Many people have done that. It's not a very, very rare thing, but yeah, it's very interesting though, that the entire Khasi tribe, uh, about 26, 27 villages of the Khasi tribe, they talk in tunes. I don't know why it got the name Whistling Village. Officially, it's written Whistling Village there, but it is actually tunes that they speak in. They don't whistle. It's like cooing, coo, something like that. And every person has a different tune to their name. So that's a beautiful place to visit, where people go. And of course, the most important thing, where tourists just flock uh, and crowd, the live living root bridges. uh, right, Nogriat is the most famous one, but there are 100, more than 100 root bridges in Meghalaya. Everywhere around you go, you'll find root bridges there. That's another thing it's famous for. Uh, okay, Nongkhnam is the second largest river island in the world, by the way. So that's there in Meghalaya, which I think is a lesser known thing. And waterfalls, of course, everybody, once you reach, as sir was saying, it's very accessible from Guwahati. Once you land in Guwahati, you take a it's 100 kilometers to reach Shillong, and from Shillong it's very well connected. There are many packages available, very many uh, cabs available, which will take you on a tour for an entire day to take uh, to beautiful waterfalls around the area. And definitely, I think they are gorgeous waterfalls. Definitely one of the best in India and even in the world, where some of the waterfalls are amazing. And there are 16 such major waterfalls there. Um, Caves, definitely, I think Siju Caves is the most popular one, and but there are more than 500 limestone and sandstone caves in Meghalaya. So people definitely go there for that. I think these are the major things which are mostly known. Well, let's move to some interesting facts about Meghalaya. Okay, which uh, which is easily available, but people usually don't try to find these facts, right? So let's quickly cover just as a trivia. Right, Mendipathar is the only railway station in Meghalaya. They just have one railway station. That's there. There are three major tribes: Khasi, Jaintia, and Garo. Right, Khasi and Jaintia are the ones which are, and so they are also the names of the areas. Right, so Khasi Hills, Jaintia Hills, and Garo Hills, from where they get the names of the tribes. Right. Khasi Hills and Jaintia Hills are the most explored ones because it is very, very accessible from Shillong, easily accessible, very nearby, on uh, on a distance of 1 hour, 2 hours, 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, like that. But Garo is a little far away and unexplored for multiple reasons, which we'll cover in one of my stories. It was earlier. There were some activities of people who would want to spread terror in the region and stuff like that. So because of that, there was some sensitive issues earlier, but in last 2 years that has been largely controlled, and there are no such issues now, because most of those people have been either dissolved, or they have surrendered. So Garo is now open to explore, and I think that's a beautiful area to explore. We'll see some of the things of that. There are three wildlife sanctuaries, two national parks in Meghalaya. It is 70% forest cover, like almost all of Northeast. It's green, it's beautiful. And it's one of the few places where the matrilineal system is still existing, right? Where in a family, it's the daughter, the girl child who is given a priority compared to a boy, right? The youngest daughter inherits the property, and she's the one who's responsible for taking care of other family members, her elder brother, sisters, and even her parents, right? So that system still carries on in Meghalaya. Clouded leopard and hill myna are the state animal and birds of Meghalaya. And the kingship is still followed there in Meghalaya. You'd still find in Khasi, it's called CM. The king is called a CM. So you'll still find CMs there who would have their own office. Of course, it's not parallel to, it's not government, but they have still have a little powers over their village where they administrate and help the government unofficially. But they do hold an office, and that thing is still followed in Meghalaya. So it's very interesting to meet the CM. I met one of them. I think on one video you'll see him. Let's see. So so this was in nutshell about Meghalaya, why it is so popular and what it is known for. Now let's talk about some of the things, like these are the reasons why we go to Meghalaya, right? Uh, but when we go there, we miss some of the things completely. Okay, so let me give you a few examples. These are not hidden stories, they are stories right in front of us, but we never ask. Most of us don't ask. I am guilty of same. But some of them, when I do ask, I try to find them. So one of them, most important one, is Tir. Okay, so when you go to Shillong or anywhere in Meghalaya, okay, if somebody has been, you would have seen small counters there, right? If you can recall, it'll look like a lottery counter where people are selling small tickets. um, and so what they are actually doing is they look like lottery, but they are not lottery tickets. Actually, what is happening is it is deep rooted into uh, their culture, which is called Tir. Tir is like a slang name which is now used. They have their own local name for it, but it's popularly known as Tir. So what is Tir is that carrying on the legacy of the hunters. What they do now is they keep a target, and about 16 people. It can vary, but normally about 16 people. They shoot a bamboo target, and whatever arrows hit that, the last two digits, for example, 230 arrows hit the target, then 30 is the winning number. And everywhere in Meghalaya, you'll see that will be the winning number, and people will win money on that. Usually it's 80 times the money. So if you bet 10 rupees, you'll get 800 rupees. And that's very, very popular and very, very easily seen in it. So there is also a deep rooted story behind it, how the tir started. The color of the arrows has a significance. As you see in the picture, there are multiple colors. Some are red, some are black, some are blue. So I did a story on that. If anyone gets a chance, you can go to any of my channels and watch this story by the name of Dreams and Arrows. And very interesting thing is that dreams is so those people believe that, and they have an entire chart of it. So yesterday night, if I saw a dream, and if I saw color red in that, that means I think number four, and the person would bet on number four. And everything like that, a boy has a number, a girl has a number, a motorcycle has a number. So based on your last night's dream, you can actually predict the winning number and bet on that. And some people claim that they have won. So it's a very interesting thing. Whenever who's there in Meghalaya, you should try it out. It's completely legal. It's approved by the Meghalaya government. So that was one story, which we completely miss, because we just see that there is a lottery counter, but we don't know that there is so much culture and tradition behind it. If you get a chance, go and see it on my channel. Then there is one more beautiful place in the Garo Hills, which I was talking about, right? That we usually haven't been to Garo Hills that much. There is a place called Sculpture Village there. I have named it Sculpture Village, but all details you'll find on my channel in the story called Sculpture Village, with the details of the place. So there is an artist, a Garo artist, who realized that. So he what he used to do whenever he used to see an uprooted tree during a storm or like heavy monsoon, so trees would get uprooted and they would die, and he didn't like that. So what he would do is to give them life and keep them retained. He would just carve them out into something very beautiful, and he kept collecting it in his village, right? And today that entire village, something or the other has been created, and there is a small park also which is a sculpted tree park. Only the dead trees they sculpt. So everywhere you go you'll find those wooden sculptures, and that's I think one place which anybody who's going to Meghalaya must visit. So try to check it out. Monoliths. Okay, so very interesting thing. Again, something which we see everywhere around Meghalaya. Even on a popular market circle, you would see like three stones stacked, like two like this and one stone top of that, in stacked up like that. Uh, we see it, we assume that maybe this is a burial stone or something like that, and we just pass on. But every so they are called monoliths. Every monolith which is there has a story, deep rooted story behind it, right? And to understand those stories you need to understand what kind of monolith is it, right? So typical, there are 4 5 categories, but largely they are categorized into two main areas. One is monium and monam, two kind of monoliths which you would see. So if it is a monium that you see, it'll mostly be ritualistic. It'll have some sort of puja part that has happened, or some sort of bone burial ceremony that has happened. Typically, it would not be in a market. It would be in jungles, or maybe in some secluded villages and paths, where some sort of ceremony, a happy or sad, it could be any kind of ceremony, has happened. So those are monium, and then there is a unique story of those monoliths. I'll tell you one. Like the picture, on the bottom right, the picture that you see behind me, there is a huge monolith, erected monolith. This is called treachery stone. Okay, these days, so you have to climb a little to go to this place, but the view from there is fantastic. But once you find out the story of that, it's called treachery stone because the CM of that time, the king, when he what he was doing was he wanted to commemorate his victory over some war that he had won. So for that he wanted to tell that story, and for that he wanted to erect that monolith. But somehow it was not getting erected. There was a hole which was dug. So what he did was he threw his silver supari ka dabba in the thing, and he asked some of his guys to go and get that. And as soon as somebody jumped in, he asked to throw the stone on top of them, and then erect that monolith. So this monolith actually is called a treachery stone because the CM did a treachery, but it still exists as it is, because during that time he was the king, so he could do whatever. Though a scary story, but yeah, that is a fascinating story. Anyhow, uh, behind this. The other ones are monarchs. The other monoliths are monarchs, which mark an event. Like I was saying, it could be a war victory. It could be a king completing his kingship for 50 years or something, or some festival or some achievement, a local celebrating a local hero or whatever. So all these stones have a story. So whenever somebody is there, and if you come across a monolith, do ask the locals around what's the story behind it, so that next time you will remember it. Nartiang is a place where it has hundreds of monoliths. It's like a monolith park. Uh, it's a beautiful place to visit because when once you enter, you will find hundreds and hundreds of monoliths there, and a great place to see and visualize. Again, these some I have done like 3 4 stories as examples on a single video, which is called Promise Stones. So you can again find it on my channel if you get time. So these were some of the stories that I wanted to share. Now let's move to some of the stories visually. Although all these are also available online, but I'll showcase some of them today. Right, let's see this one. This covers the waterfalls, right? Though I was saying that we go, we see beautiful waterfalls there, but we don't know the actual stories behind them. So I tried to find them on some of the most popular ones, and some are really fascinating. So you go ahead and see, and then we'll go further. So let's just see this. I am in Sohra. Many people know this place as Cherrapunji. This place is blessed with so many gorgeous waterfalls. But do you know that many of these gorgeous waterfalls have a deadly story behind them? Let me tell you a few of them. Meghalaya has deep rooted culture and traditions, and its tribes are full of stories and folklore. And Sohra or Cherrapunji in Khasi Hills has a story about almost everything, and its waterfalls are no exception. I went exploring many stunning waterfalls across Meghalaya through Khasi, Jayantia, and Garo Hills until I came across Daintlin Waterfall, whose story shook me to the core. Dain means God and Klan means the serpent. That's why we got the name of Dainton Waterfall. The background of the story at that time means this portion where I'm sitting is a part when they're cutting the serpent at the time. So the man eating serpent at the time on this area as the part of that story behind that. But this is just the beginning of the story. After the cutting of Glen with many rituals, the priest strictly instructed to eat the snake and that there should be no leftovers. But a mother took home a piece for her son and forgot about it. From this remaining piece, Glen came back to life and asked the lady to protect him and feed him Khasi human blood. And in return, promised to make her very rich. This started the lineage of Glen Keepers, who still exist today as a secret group and look for Longshna or beaters who beat the victim to death, as the use of iron for killing is not allowed by Glen. As for his own killing, an iron rod was used. Cases of people disappearing with no trace at all are still reported in the area, and people try to avoid traveling alone as much as possible. After this heart-wrenching story, I came across another gorgeous waterfall, No Kalikai. No means jump, and Likai is the name of the lady. Kalikai kadai kebriu kebaduk sibun bat kebasampang. Ka ladani wi kun thai bat upana jongka. Ladan ke jing bisni ya ke jing tem nasim jongka ya lai ku. Hawi ke si ulah penyam bat la sedo ya ikun du jongka. Bat haba kalikai kelawan nak jing kela nak belakit nong. Da kalabam ja bat da ka jing bam tem kalabam du ya kedo kepala sedo pana. Haba kala sim yu song kwai ben pam kwai. Kala lap ya sim priak ti jo ikun jongka pro a. Apa ka sang kwai. Bat da ka mesti sang. Bat keba kelayam kelaniya. Bat da ka jing susi. Kala mare ru saksi jo kan ksa wa yong. Bat kala no yap saksi ka twai. But hadu manta ni satip. I then visited another popular waterfall in the area whose touristy name is not liked by the locals. I don't know why these are referred to as Seven Sister Waterfalls. Their actual name is No Sithiang Waterfalls. Now means jump, and Sithiang is the lady who jumped in these waterfalls because she was not allowed to get married to her lover. Anyway, don't get bogged down by these sad stories because they actually add to the richness of history and culture. Enjoy Meghalaya, enjoy Sora, and I'll see you in my next story. Khushia always. Many of these gorgeous. You try to escape from your side because this is called no such. No means jump, and Sitya is the lady who jumped. I don't know why these are referred to as No Sithiang waterfall. क्या यार. Okay, so this was like 2 3 stories of the most popular waterfalls there, and as you see that every story has a folklore behind it. The name has a meaning. Why is it named that? And some amazing, fascinating stories behind it, though not really positive ones, but still fascinating ones, like I was saying before. So, and the first story that was there, the Thlen one, that still exists, right? The Thlen keepers are still there, who are out for there are a lot of khasi, so they want only because the snake, the serpent, only wanted khasi blood. So only the locals, the khasi locals, are at risk because these incidents keep happening once a year, or once in twice a year, where it is said that the protectors of that snake, they go out and hunt to feed the snake. So those stories are still making rounds in the market. So this is one part of it which I wanted to tell. Okay, so this is another story. I think this will cover a little bit of Garo, which is lesser explored, and it also covers a little bit of reason why it is unexplored. Uh, let's see the the Meghalaya secrets. The oh, sorry. Uh, The lesser explored and lesser known parts of Meghalaya are the stunning Garo Hills. The beauty of this region is unmatched but still unexplored for a reason. It was suffering the impact of militants and separatist groups for many years. A situation which is now largely under control, and the people and economy are moving back to normalcy, including tourism. And many hidden gems are now being discovered in Garo Hills, including. These are stunning Nakama caves in South Garo Hills, hardly explored by anyone except a few locals. It's just beautiful out there. As you leave the main road near Tolegre in South Garo Hills and walk deep into the jungle for about 20 minutes, you will come across the mouth of Nakama Cave that welcomes you to explore her beauty. Silently embracing the secrets of past thousands of years, these caves are a bliss to walk through and explore, lost in your own thoughts and silence. A very interesting aspect of these caves is that some of the formations double up as drums. We kept going deep inside for more than 40 minutes but saw no end to it, and decided to turn back and leave it for someone else to find the other end of it. Going back to Khasi Hills for a bit, one of the scariest treks in Meghalaya is the Moringkham trek, or the bamboo trek in Wakhin village, about 2 hours from Shillong. Initial trek seems fun and easy with some bamboo bridges over river streams and many natural pools with crystal clear water in which one can take a refreshing dip. It's only after this that the real trek begins. The climb gets steeper and you realize that you need to trust the hand-tied bamboo passages with just jute ropes. One small mistake and you would be flying down several hundred feet. Trek is quite tough and dangerous. Not an easy one. Straight down. But you still keep going because you have the prize in sight. And it is definitely every bit worth it. But my favorite find is back in the Garo Hills. How many of us have heard about the legend of Bigfoot? Well, I can show you the proof right here. Not too far from Emangre village in South Garo Hills is the hidden legend and proof of the Bigfoot. तो भाई यहाँ पे रोड़ा खुराक नहाया था बोला नहा के यहाँ पे एक कोकरोदल आया एक कोकरोदल आके यहाँ पे एक दो उसका भाई को काट लिया उसका भाई काट के यहाँ पे मदद किया है मदद करके यहाँ पे उसका भाई को रखा है यहाँ पे रखा है बोला उसका बाद
उसका पैर अभी निशान देख रहा है यहाँ पे। उसका बाद वो लोग गया, चला गया। उसका बाद ये पैर 3 कदम ना कितना है, 1 2 3 कदम है। देखो यहाँ पर
Garo Hills is full of such exquisite and unexplored places and stories. Why don't you come for yourself and check it out? I'll see you in my next story. Khushiyan always.
मदद किया है थोड़ा। उसका भाई तो रो रहा है। उसका भाई
These caves are completely unexplored. In caves का नाम क्या है?
nakama
Nakama.
nakama
ठीक है,
cave,
दोबारा बोलो.
nakama cave, हाँ।
तो वीडियो है.
ओह साला।
Okay, so this was mostly about Garo Hills, as I was saying that that place is completely unexplored. Very few people go there. It's a little far. Uh, so the Tura is the district capital um of the region. Sorry, the region capital of Garo. So Tura is about 300 kilometers from either Shillong or Guwahati. There are two ways, but both the ways are like very, very good now. And it's like a 6 7 hours 6 hour drive to reach Tura. And from there are many places that people can go to. There is a beautiful Balpakram National Park. There are these kind of villages that you can go around and explore. And I think one of the most beautiful places that is there is what we'll see next. This So last year I visited there, I think around April. um, this is called Varichora. um, People are now getting to know about it in last 1 year. I was one of the very few people outside Northeast India to visit this place. It's not very easy to go here, but it's definitely every bit worth it. Now a lot of people visit this, have started exploring and visiting this place. A lot of I get, at least every day I get 5 messages every day asking about contacts to reach there. Still I get after watching the video. Let's watch this one. This, I think, is one of the most beautiful places in Garo Hills. This is lesser known and lesser explored Varichora. And other than it being like Grand Canyons, there is a legend of 7 serpents behind it. This place needs a full story because it is by far one of the most mesmerizing places I have ever been to. But still, very few people know about the beauty and the legend of Varichora. In many folk stories, we hear about paradise and how the routes to paradise are lesser known and full of hurdles and challenges. Only if you are up for the challenges is when you get to reach the paradise. It is the same for Varichora. Less than 300-kilometer drive from Shillong or Guwahati will take you to Tura, one of the largest cities of Meghalaya. Another 150 kilometers from there via Bagmara will take you to Double Grey village for overnight stay. But the last 15 kilometers are a real off-road. I visited in May when monsoons were starting and it was a real challenge to cross many patches on the road. But finally we reached our only homestay in Double Grey and it was dark by then. It was really windy, but the warm hospitality of Mr. Hennen and family and the company of friends made it a perfect evening. The real surprise came in the morning when I realized that all night long we were sitting with the view of a gorgeous waterfall which we saw only in the morning after sunrise. After having a hearty breakfast with a perfect view, I left to find someone who could tell me the story of Varichora. I was lucky enough to meet Nokma, meaning the king or chief himself, who told me the importance and why you need to show respect while visiting the river.
Ini man wari sura ni man naga ton tinate masija yukaja nak simang nasa kandak ke ya ya ko na ya tenya. Ini man ya wari sura ra
Skangni ambini achuni sasongunen mungsinga munggama unigemen ya ba kengonian ya wari chora ko mungsinya unigemen ya wari chorara nokma borsni dongani gemen ya wari chora ko kemakan munggama.
Loaded with the story, we set deep into the forest for a 6-kilometer trek deep through the jungle. It also started raining, but I couldn't decide if it was making the jungle more eerie or more beautiful. But what was definitely worrisome were the leeches that the jungle is infested with. Some say it even falls from the trees many a time. Luckily for us, it was only the ground. Treading carefully through the leeches and some really tricky slopes and bends, we finally reached the coveted Varichora. The raft was inflated and we set afloat to explore the legend of Varichora. What we saw next was nothing less than paradise. No one spoke for the longest of time. The sound of water falling from the top of canyons and the raft squeezing its way through the narrow passage seemed like a different world. No words can describe it. While returning, neither the leeches mattered that much nor the rains. All we had in our mind was the magic of Varichora that we had witnessed.
Garo Hills is full of unexplored gems like these and many unexplored stories. Why don't you visit and see for yourself, and I'll see you in my next story. And also, if there are any leeches on my shoes. Khushiyan always.
Follow me for 15 seconds.
Coming up.
No problem.
Khushiyan always. All right, so this was Varichora, beautiful gem in the Garo Hills. And if you see in Garo Hills, there are many more beautiful places waiting to be explored. I was there in April, so monsoon in Northeast starts early, uh, so I could not explore much more in the area. But definitely, I'll visit again, explore many more beautiful places and stories like this around Garo Hills, which are still unexplored. I get a lot of messages from the locals who are asking me to come and cover a lot of beautiful stories, which I'm excited about, which I'll do soon. But yeah, Garo Hills, I think definitely visit the Khasi and Jaintia Hills, but don't miss out on the Garo Hills if you are making a plan for Meghalaya next time. So that was my 40 minutes, 45 minutes about Meghalaya and the untold stories. Khushi, always, I'm open for any questions.
Yeah, Shiva, we could see the something special which we generally do not see when the normal tourists visit Meghalaya. So it was a very interesting and fascinating things like Tir and the monolith and the jungles and other things. The stories of this uh, waterfalls and other things what you shown. Actually, generally tourists do not know much about it. But apart from this, Meghalaya is a very famous tourist destination. Shillong itself has, you can say, minimum 2 days uh, uh, time to visit around Shillong, and there are many other routes where we go up and found many hills and mountains, and we know much about the flora and fauna, and of course the place having so much of wetland, and it is having a lot of uh, forest, and of course the many species and this tree trees, the species of trees, and we found the breezes made out of tree. I think it is not found anywhere in the world. So
Right.
something special. This place is bestowed with something amazing, something special, and especially for the nature lovers and
Absolutely.
those who want to enjoy the rains. There are many part of the world those who never see rain in their lifetime. I know the places they never saw the rain, and when they visit the places, they really enjoy visiting these places and they enjoy the rain. Even I have I have been in northeast and I have stayed in northeast. So sometimes we were very annoyed about the rain, but gradually the people are very used to. So the rain doesn't stop any work, and they go on their work with all this uh, timetable and everything they do. The rain is not at all an issue, and of course this becomes a monsoon tourism destination. This is one of the uh, special thing that it has, and there are many other destinations in and around Shillong, and Shillong itself is a very very famous hill destination. And as far as connectivity is concerned, it has its airport. It is well connected by train through Guwahati. Up to Guwahati, you can go by train, and from there, within 2 hours, you can reach Shillong. And lot of conveyance is available, like buses and taxi and all. So very easily accessible by tourists, especially in the northeast. When you reach Guwahati, this is, I think, one of the best place that you can go around in shortest period of time.
Yes.
And it is having one lake that is there where the water is very transparent. What is the name of that lake?
Dauki.
Yeah, Tauki Lake. So
It's
that
near
lake
the
is
Bangladesh border.
yeah, it is world famous, and we have seen the videos and pictures. It looks like the boat is just floating over that uh, water. It is just we can see what is underneath on the floor of bed of the water, bed of the river and lake. So this is very amazing, and that is how the people have kept it sustainable, and they have not get it spoiled. And certainly, being a tourist, being a responsible tourist, everybody should look at that aspect also. And the other part I could see, that is the self sustainability of the local residents, local inhabitants, and of course the respect to the local society. That is what makes a responsible tourist. So by
Absolutely.
all this Meghalaya has become a very famous destination, and we will know much about it and learn further. And I request all the tourists to explore this unexplored uh, area of northeast and other parts which are very lesser known and less visited, and that is how we can make this tourism prosper and fruitful. So, if any question from any side?
There was a question, but then that was sorted
Okay,
live.
that
So,
was replied.
uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Ajay ji is here.
Ajay is somewhere.
Dr.
No, no,
Ajay.
Ajay sir is not here
Okay,
because he is somewhere where the network is very poor. I think one more question
okay.
has arisen. As you mentioned,
Let's check.
Wadi Chora is still in its involvement stage. So, what can be done for the development of this place, but sustainable development? So, Shiv or sir, do you want to reply to this?
I Before sir replies, I would definitely want to reply. I think uh, the beauty of the place is in its rawness. So I don't know if trying to develop it would kill the charm of that place, because that place is like that. Plus, as I mentioned, the story behind it, it has some religious and some cultural aspects to it. People don't even it's not even allowed to spit in the river. Wari means river, so that Wari Chora, the Chora river, Wari Chora as they call it, nobody is even allowed to spit. It's considered a taboo, right? So that's the kind of respect they give. And if you want a direct road reaching that place, then I think that the fun of that place is anyway lost. But yes, what I feel is that the treks could be made slightly easier. I think there is one more way. I went through the 6 kilometer trek, but after monsoons, one more passage has opened, which is about 1 kilometer, a 1 kilometer trek. So you can take a shorter route now. You don't have to go all 6 kilometers. But I think that's my personal opinion, that things should be left as raw as possible. Rest I'll let Sir Suman sir answer.
Yeah, yeah. So you answered the covered the most of the point for sustainability, and of course, a destination will remain sustainable when it is protected and what is required to protect it. So we must do it what is necessary to keep it sustainable. That is most important. So, if there is no question, I thank all our team and of course Shiva Yadav, who has been here to support us and give his insights about the different places he visited, and the more and more he is going to explore, and we will certainly have his experience in few other episode on some other destinations. And I thank my viewers and all this any DGD platform and the Geo platform for hosting this uh, Dekho Apna Desh webinar. And thank you
Sir,
all.
sir,
Yeah.
excuse me, sir. One more question has come. It's like, is there any trekking agency? So, Shiv, did you go through
Uh,
any agency or you went by your own?
so there are small local players in Tura. There are one or two places like who organize these trips, and I think without them you it won't be possible to go, because the local homestays etc are all organized by them. One name that I can remember is Bagmara Campers. So if you search them on Instagram, you'll find them. uh, and there are few others. You can DM me on any of my channels and I'll respond with more details on that. But there are
Yeah,
local.
there is no shortage of travel agents and tour operators who will customize your requirement, whatever you need. Even with the hotel you stay, they can suggest you that this is the trekking agency, or there are many things. So when you reach there, or if you even if you plan in advance, you can find the details of these tour operators, those who are approved by Ministry of Tourism and even the state government. You can find it on the state government website, Meghalaya tourism website, and there are everything available, because yeah, of course they welcome tourists, and they uh, follow the requirements of tourists, and certainly trekking is one of the requirement that tourists like to do there. So that is not an issue. Certainly it is available with us. So again, now I thank everyone, and uh, we hope that we will be bringing some new insights and the new untold stories and lesser visited place to you all. See you in our next episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.